Like, why do I keep reminding myself how old I am? Up is now 15 years old. It is only the second animated movie in history after Beauty and the Beast to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. And my god, after rewatching it today, it's not hard to see why. This is a Pete Docter directed project. He also had a hand in writing the script. It stars the late Ed Asner and the late Christopher Plummer. And Ed Asner plays Carl Fredrickson. He's a curmudgeonly widower who travels to South America with wilderness explorer Russell. Russell is accidentally tied up in this mess. This is all in order to fulfill a promise that he made to Ellie before she passed away. This movie was Pete Docter's directorial follow-up at Pixar after Monsters, Inc., which was a very emotionally resonant movie. And man, if you thought Monsters, Inc. was emotional, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I'd be a fool if I did a review of Up and I didn't talk about the first 10 to 15 minutes or so. When Carl and Ellie meet as children, it's such a cutesy little relationship. Ellie is definitely the more extroverted of the two. Carl is very shy and very blushy around her. And after they get married, you get a nice 5 to 10 minute sequence just showing you their lives as a married couple, just with visuals and great music from Michael Giacchino and zero dialogue. And with those limited resources, you can get anybody to tear up at it. It is just so beautiful. And yeah, many people have jokes that you could just start rolling the credits once that sequence is over and you'd probably be leaving happy. But then you don't get the charm of the second and the third act and all the zany characters that you meet along the way. And let's start with Russell. As Carl is just holed up in his house and the developers are building all these condos around him, like, who can blame Carl? He doesn't want his and his wife's house just taken away. He doesn't want to go to a retirement community. Even though he's 78 and he's in need of much assistance, that's where Russell comes into play. Good afternoon. My name is Russell, and I am a wilderness explorer in Tribe 54, Sweat Lodge 12. Are you in need of any assistance today, sir? No. I can help you cross the street? No. This whole relationship and every time Carl shoots him down just has me cracking up. And when Carl's house does start floating up with all the balloons, seriously, how does he have the time to blow all those balloons? We'll get to that in a second. And Russell actually ends up stuck on Carl's porch and he's blown up into the sky with him. You get lovely little exchanges like this.
Please let me in.
No. Oh, all right.
I always piss my pants with laughter once I see how Russell runs into the house. And my god, the wackiness just only amplifies once they get to South America. You meet this rare species of bird named Kevin who has zero lines of dialogue, and yet she has a lot of personality. Kevin's a girl? And then you come across the show stealer of the bunch in Doug. As a dog person, Doug makes me very happy every single time I watch him. Doug has this special collar that actually allows him to speak to humans in human language, yet he can still do all the things a dog does, and Pixar just nails the personality of a dog so incredibly well. Squirrel! Hi, my name is Doug, and I love you. I must now stop the dogs! Stop, you dogs! Yeah, Doug is basically starting off as one of the bad minions, this big gigantic army of dogs who have these collars, and you can hear human voices out of every single one of them. Your leader is this gigantic, intimidating Doberman named Alpha, and he's got the voice of a goddamn chipmunk. I understand that it's childish, but when you put a chipmunk voice up against a terrifying image like that, that's hysterical. I'm sorry. And these dogs are all a part of this army. It was put together by the villain of our tale, Charles Muntz, voiced here by Christopher Plummer. Muntz was an explorer who 9-year-old Carl idolized. And yet here they look roughly the same age. And they look like they were more so long-lost brothers than a guy who met his idol. Yeah, a small part of me kind of wishes they explained the age gap a little bit there, and more importantly, how Muntz is even alive. But if that's the biggest issue for people, and everything else, despite that, is so freaking perfect that it just makes you forget about that one little thing. Up is a top-tier Pixar movie, guys. And I did look this up. Carl is 78 in this movie. Muntz would probably have to be around his early 20s in order for him to actually be alive for this story to actually work. So that would put him around like 90, 91 years old, something like that. He looks good for 91, man. And I'm actually, you know what? After thinking more and more about it, and after especially when Lindsay explained this to me, I'm glad that Muntz is the villain, and I'm glad that Muntz is not dead within the confines of this story. Well, actually, yeah, Disney won't tell you he is dead because Muntz fell to his death off that blimp in the climax, but you know what I mean? Like, in the context of the story, Muntz was basically Carl and Ellie's hero. And the story actually has a very mature message as it relates to the relationship between Carl and Muntz. And that is, never meet your heroes. And you never expect that out of a Disney movie. So mad props to them for actually taking this message and taking this great foil between these two characters and making it work. Everything about this movie just fires on all cylinders. It's charming, it's emotional, it's funny, it's whimsical, it's surreal. There's a lot of things in this movie where it would be very difficult for you to suspend your disbelief. Like the whole idea of a guy tying like thousands of balloons to his house from his fireplace and then whisking away to a whole other continent. Yeah, you won't see that in real life. Of course not. Yeah, that would just be crazy. But it's how Pixar goes about presenting the material that makes you believe. And it's also how they write these characters to be so freaking endearing. Even your lead in Carl, the curmudgeonly, grouchy guy who nobody really wants to talk to, like, you relate to him so much. Guys, I mean, this is a brilliant Pixar movie. It is definitely top tier. I mean, like, the more and more I watch it and the more and more I think about it, it should be one of my favorites for sure. But Pixar has put out so many amazing movies over the years. I feel like my ranking is definitely going to change the more and more I go back and revisit these movies. But as it sits right now, Up is among the best of the best. I'm going to give Up an A+. Just an amazing and a beautiful family feature that anybody can enjoy in every way. Let me know what you thought of Up down in the comments section below. Let me know what your favorite Pixar movie is. What is your favorite Pixar score also? Because I didn't even mention Michael Giacchino's themes in this. I hear it when I go to the Disney theme parks nowadays all the time, especially when I'm walking around Pixar Pier. It's so unlike any other score that he's ever composed, because it's just so calm and so soothing as opposed to something like The Incredibles or The Batman, you know? But there's lots of things that we can discuss over here and then some, all things geeky, all things related to Disney. This is the right channel to be at if you want to discuss all those things. Do consider becoming a part of the family today and subscribe. Tap on that thumbs up as well. That would be a huge help. Stay tuned for more videos very soon, my friends. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk commence.